This is a Big Blue Crew production.
Hey, what are you doing? What is wrong with you? These nuts. Got it. Got it.
What's going on YouTube? What's going on Instagram, Twitter, all platforms, Facebook? Welcome to another episode of Big Pat Sports Talk Reacts. How you doing, Big Blue Crew? Pumping out the videos for you guys, trying to give you a video a day so you can get some of your Big Blue Crew fix per day. And this is going to be another reaction video. And the topic for today is, can Daniel Jones turn it around this year with Brian Daboll at the helm, with Joe Shane at the helm? Can he turn it around and turn into a franchise QB? We're going to be going from the Get Up crew again. Tim Hasselbeck and Bart Scott are going to be talking about it. I'm going to get into the video. I'm going to let you guys hear exactly what they have to say. And you know, I'm going to talk my talk no matter what you thought. Hit that like and subscribe button to Big Pat Sports Talk. We're almost at 1,300. Thank you guys for your support. Thank you to all the members so far, the 7 members of the channel so far. If you want to talk your talk with Big Pat Sports Talk and stand out above the rest, hit that join button. And we will be doing members only streams and giveaways as soon as we get enough members to do that. So I appreciate you guys, but let's get into the video.
Is Daniel Jones ready to take that next step, and is this a team he can take it with?
I believe so, but let's hear what Tim Hasselbeck has to say.
I don't believe it is, Greeny, and I think there's been a lot of talk about Brian Daboll coming over, and look what he did with Josh Allen, and I don't think they're similar players. I don't think there are many characteristics that are similar. And I think the challenge for Daniel Jones, as he talks about some of the struggles they've had on offense, is he essentially turned the football over as many times as he was able to help them account for a touchdown. 50 touchdowns, 49 turnovers. You cannot win games doing that. He's fumbled the ball in 3 years 36 times. And so, when you look at decisions as a passer, those are important, but protecting the ball when you're in conflict is also something that you need to work on. It's hard to fix. And I think it's one of the reasons why, we'll probably continue to see him struggle. And ultimately, I think the Giants a year from now are going to be in a situation where they're looking for a quarterback.
What do you think?
All right. Here goes the usual. Here goes the usual. The media is saying the same things about Daniel Jones every year. No, he used to do the turnovers. He has the fumbles. He has the turnovers. Most of those turnovers came his rookie year. He's cleaned up the turnovers the past 2 years. He only had 7 interceptions with 10 touchdowns last year. I think he only had like 3 fumbles lost. So it's not like he's a interception machine, or he hasn't even been a turnover machine the past 2 years. Now, has he been perfect? No, but man, look at the situation around the guy. Like, seriously, man, I can't say this enough, man. Y'all act like this guy has had a perfect situation around him and he's just been playing terrible. If that was the case, he wouldn't even be with the New York Giants, man. The owner wouldn't even came out and said, we've done everything in our power to screw this kid up. He was telling the truth, man. He was telling the truth. And everybody wants to compare him to Josh Allen and all that. I'm not here to compare him to Josh Allen. You only comparing him to Josh Allen because that's a media shtick, because Brian Daboll came over for the Bills and ding, oh yeah, we can compare him to Josh Allen. He's nothing like Josh Allen. Well, yeah, but I beg to differ. In his first 2 years, he actually had better stats than Josh Allen. Look it up. In his first 2 years, he actually had better stats than Josh Allen. Josh Allen didn't even average 200 yards a game in his first 2 years. He didn't even throw a 300-yard game in his first 2 years. He didn't even throw a four touchdown game in his first 2 years. Until they got Stephon Diggs and all those weapons for him. Guess what? Josh Allen had the ability to stay in the same system throughout his career. Unlike Daniel Jones, who's been in like 4 systems in his first 3 years. The whole situation is totally different. Josh Allen's offensive line has not been as terrible as the Giants' offensive line has been since Daniel Jones been there. Josh Allen hasn't had the injuries to his main people like Daniel Jones has had. Josh Allen actually had an organization that was stable. Josh Allen didn't have a Dave Gettleman and a Joe Judge and a Pat Shermer and a freaking Jason Garrett as his offensive coordinator. Josh Allen has had a great defense around him his whole career. So, of course, Josh Allen is going to have better stats and better numbers. I mean, he's in a way better situation. But you guys act like Daniel Jones has been in a perfect situation around him. It's crazy. But let's continue on.
Bart.
I mean, listen, we all say that, men lie, women lie, numbers don't. But in this instance, I think they do. When you think about Daniel Jones and the circumstances and the conditions
Thank you.
in which he has to play for, I mean, Dave Gettleman should be arrested for what he done, to this organization.
Right. Thank you.
Only $7 million left. He spent this money badly. Talk about Saquon Barkley not living up. He told him he was going to be a yellow jacket. He leaves him only $7 million of space. He overpaid Leonard Williams. James Bradbury, he's a contender maybe to be traded. I think he's been in some of the worst situations, and finally they have the draft equity.
Right. He's been in some of the worst situations possible. Think about this. The man has only played 5 career games with all his weapons, and in 3 of those games, somebody got hurt. Please tell me a quarterback that can be in a situation Daniel Jones has been in the past 3 years and be successful. Tell me how many quarterbacks in the league can do that. Deshaun Watson over there with the Texans with all the turmoil was going on, he only got 4 wins that year when they got rid of Hopkins and they got rid of all his players. Brandon Cooks and everybody. I mean, come on, man. The guy has not had a consistent tight end. Evan Ingram has been his tight end. Please explain this to me. How you can sit here and say that this guy is just absolute trash when he has had nothing around him. You say he has the worst coach in the league. Both the coaches he's played for, Pat Shermer and Joe Judge. He's had an offensive coordinator that's the worst in the league. Everybody knows what's coming on defense. Curl routes, slant routes, and hitches. Everybody knows what's coming. They didn't give him the ability to change plays at the line of scrimmage. He has the worst offensive line in the league. Come on, Nate Solder. Everybody knows Nate Solder is absolute trash. Hernandez was trash. Billy Price was trash. Bredesen and Skura, that was their first year, and they came at the beginning of the season. Nick Gates got hurt. Pert was trash. Thomas got hurt. Barkley got hurt. Galladay got hurt. Tony got hurt. Riggs, a.k.a. Sterling Shepard, got hurt. Evan Ingram's your tight end. You've been in multiple systems in your career for every year you've been with the Giants. The fan base is killing you all day. Dave Gettleman is your GM. He's not doing anything. He made it a cap situation, a cap hell. Kyle Rudolph, come on, he got hurt. Playing some of the toughest schedules. And you expect this kid to be what, Patrick Mahomes or something? Like, I don't get it. Like, I don't get it. Oh, you're just making an excuse. What? Well, damn, that's not an excuse. Those are facts. The Giants fans who always say, oh, you make an excuse for Daniel Jones, those are facts. You the same guys that said Joe Judge was the worst coach in the league. He's a special teams coach. He doesn't know what he's doing. The locker room is divided. He doesn't know how to lead yet. Worst coaching hire. You said Pat Shermer lost the locker room, didn't know what he was doing. You said Jason Garrett was the worst offensive coordinator in the league. He should have been fired. He should have never been hired. You guys have said this. You said we got the worst offensive line in the league with injuries on top of that. You already had the worst offensive line in the league, and then you had injuries on top of that. Saquon Barkley, you say that he was a mascot. He never plays, which is true. You said Kenny Galladay is overpaid. He's not earning the money. He gave up down the stretch of the season. Kadarius Toney, you say that he's not focused on football. Sterling Shepard is hurt every year. Evan Ingram can't catch, can't run routes, doesn't know what he's doing out there. Kyle Rudolph is washed. John Ross is always hurt. Slayton is not a good receiver. He's terrible. You got practice squad receivers you're playing with every week. Andrew Thomas, the only guy that gave him a little bit of confidence when he was playing well, he got hurt. You say the offensive line is undisciplined, which they are. They get penalties every single time. Your number one receiver, you say he can't run routes, he can't get separation. Your number two receiver, you say that he can't run routes, he's just a speed guy, he can't catch. Your number three receiver, Kadarius Toney, you say that he doesn't even want to play football. Your number one running back, you say that he's washed. He's not the same anymore. He tiptoes too much. He doesn't hit the hole. He's always hurt. You don't have a tight end to speak of. You say the offensive play calling is the worst in the league. You say a coach is the worst in the league. He can't do time management. He can't be a leader of men. You say your GM is the worst in the league. He can't draft. He doesn't know what he's doing. He gave up. Your offensive line coach been checked out since week 4. You wanted Patrick Graham fired in the first half of the season because we gave up the most points before halftime and before the end of the game. So all this that I'm saying right here, and you expect this guy to be Patrick Mahomes or somebody? Look at all the stuff that I've said. And it's fact. It's fact. You guys want a Joe Judge fired? He was fired because you said he was incompetent. And reports came out, yes, that in some cases he was. I believe he's going to be the sacrificial lamb to where we get this turned around with Dabo and Shane. But man, he has nothing. Everywhere he turns, there's turmoil. I ask you guys, tell me what quarterbacks would have survived in this situation and came out like gold? What quarterbacks? Like that is absolutely mind-boggling. What quarterback is going to survive? Look at the first play with the Rams. The very first play, Daniel Jones gets clotheslined. Oh, Daniel Jones get hurt? Yeah, he's going to get hurt. The kid wants to win, so he's going to try to make a play. And I can't really blame him for that. Does he need to get his pocket awareness up a little bit? Yes, he does. He can help out his offensive line a little bit better, but he started to do that towards the end of the season. But guess what? He got his neck crunched up because he's trying to make a play against the Eagles because he has no blocking. He has no blocking. He has no top receivers. He has no top running game. Think about that. He has the worst offensive playbook in the league, the worst offensive coordinator in the league, a coach that really doesn't know what he's doing, a running back that's supposed to be your best weapon is always hurt. He has no running game to speak of. He has no tight end to throw to that's consistent. No receivers to throw to that's consistent. They're all hurt. Billy Price as your center, this guy falls on his ass without even being touched. You got a right guard that doesn't know how to pick up a stunt. You got a right tackle that's, man, he's just there. He's worse than a traffic cone. Like, I don't get it. Like, you act like this guy has been on the field with a great situation around him, like a Baker Mayfield, who a lot of people say that's better than Daniel Jones, but Baker Mayfield had the top running game in the league, one of the best offensive lines in the league, Austin Hooper and Njoko at tight end. He had Odell Beckham, Juice Landry, Donovan Peoples-Jones, and a plethora of other receivers to throw to, and he still couldn't get it done. With one of the great offensive minds in the game that they say is the head coach over there with the Browns. Comes up with great play schemes. And he couldn't get it done. But you got the nerve to say that guy's better than Daniel Jones? Are you serious? Put Daniel Jones over there in that situation with Cleveland, where you can hand the ball off and Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt can get you 150 to 170 yards a game. The offensive line is going to protect you to where you can sit in the pocket and make good throws, or good accurate throws. Put him in that situation and then tell me that he's bad if he goes out there and performs the exact same way. Come on, man.
To be able to build around him and protect him. Of course, you're going to be able to birth the baby if you got guys that can't get separation. You got guys like Galladay that came in and disappointed, supposed to be a great number one receiver. He hasn't had the protection, and he hasn't had his number one weapon, which is supposed to be Saquon Barkley. I think he is very similar to Josh Allen. I think he's a very athletic quarterback. I think Jason Garrett had a great job with him with the RPOs. We saw that he can get to top speed. He can deliver the ball down the field, but he just...
Look at that. A 64 completion percentage last year, with 2,428 yards, 10 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, and 11 games. Those numbers are absolutely abysmal if you look at the situation. But you're not looking at the situation. That situation over there with the Giants was absolutely terrible. And he still had a 64.3 completion percentage, and you knew what was coming. You knew what was coming. And not on top of that, when he did move the ball, when you get into the red zone, guess what? Somebody misses a blocking assignment. He gets his head knocked off. Takes us out of scoring range. Oh, somebody does a false start. Oh, illegal lineman downfield. Oh, somebody drops a pass. Somebody tips it in the air and it gets picked off. Like, man, it's like crazy, bro. Like crazy. He breaks off for a huge run for a touchdown, and the holder penalty is called on the receiver, even though that wasn't a holding. But that's brought back. He throws an absolute dime to Slayton in the end zone against Washington, and he drops it. Like, man, I don't get it, man. I don't get it. 2 offsides penalties takes away 2 victories from us last year. Like, man, y'all gotta understand, man, this kid is not in an ideal situation, man. He's not. This kid is in a bad way over there with the Giants. And I tell you how bad it is. When the guy got injured and when Fromm and Glennon came in, they didn't even get 1 victory. And we looked absolutely unwatchable when Daniel Jones went out the game. Think about that. If Daniel Jones is as bad as you say he is, there's no way when those other quarterbacks came into the game that we should have looked that bad. If Daniel Jones is as trash as you say he is. Because if he's that trash, there shouldn't have been that much of a drop-off between the quarterbacks and him, the backup quarterbacks and him. So why was there so much of a drop-off when he went out the game, when he got put basically on injury reserve for the rest of the season? I bet you them same people were asking for Daniel Jones to come back when they saw Mike Glennon for 2 weeks, and then they saw Jake Fromm come in, and then Mike Glennon came back in. We were unwatchable. Like, that was literally the hardest times I've ever watched the Giants calling those games when those two quarterbacks came in the game. And then the other thing that I can't get, why wouldn't you want this kid to succeed? Because if he does, that's half the battle. Because if he turns out to be a franchise quarterback, that's half the battle. We won. Now you can work on the other pieces on the team. You don't have to worry about getting a quarterback. You can move forward with Daniel Jones and put the pieces around him because you know that he's good. Just saying.
Just had to limit the turnovers, but that's about being able to have protection.
That's a fascinating take. It's similar. It reminds me of the conversations we were having about Sam Darnold a year ago or so, about whether it was the situation he was in, or and maybe sometimes those habits get so ingrained. What do you think, Jeremy Fowler? What is the expectation for what the Giants look like around him right now?
The projection is more pain, right?
Clubber Lang
said, because new GM Joe Shane, he's just trying to get them in a salary cap situation that's healthy, right?
Yeah.
Like they're stripping salary, the restructuring contracts, could make some trades. So this isn't a team that's loading up right now in 20.
And let's not act like he's restructuring major contracts. This man restructured one contract, Adoree Jackson. What other contracts has he restructured that's going to hurt us down the line? When he restructured Riggs and Blake Martinez, that actually helped the team. And it doesn't even hurt the team in future cap situations. Like, come on, bro. They took pay cuts. They didn't restructure their contract. They took pay cuts, Mr. Jeremy Fowler. So don't put that information out there like he's having to go bonkers to try to get something. No, they've done exactly what they needed to do this year. Not to mention next year, we're out of cap purgatory next year and still can release some players to get more cap space next year. So we're in cap purgatory for 1 year. And then we're out. We're good. So I don't understand what these little beat writers and stuff be talking about, man. These guys just want to bash us.
2022. They do have a few pieces on offense. Offensive line should be better. I think the Giants are just thinking, hey, can you show us something as far as progress to be an option in the future? If not, they paid $6+ million to Tyrod Taylor to play this year. He could step in and be productive.
Yeah, again, Jones is going into that fourth year.
And that's very true. They really just want to see what Daniel Jones can bring. Can he flourish under better circumstances? Can he flourish under a system that's around him that just brings some positivity? Like, everywhere this kid looks, there's no positives anywhere he looks. Everywhere he looks, people are down, people are injured. Everywhere he looks, people are calling wrong plays and not calling plays to where he can be the best player that he can be. You're taking away play calling duty from me, and your play calls are absolutely terrible, but you just tell me to go out there and make it work. Everywhere he looks, it was turmoil. Coaches fighting each other, the GM giving up. Like, everywhere he turns is turmoil. And then the fans are killing him. The media's killing him. Lord have mercy, man. The only place that he can go to is probably his family. If he has kids or anything, get a little bit of joy out of that. But guess what? This kid's a warrior, man. This dude's Teflon. All the stuff that you say about this kid, all the stuff that he's been through, he's still the first person in the building. And that means something, man. He's still getting bigger and stronger every year. Coming in ready to play. Gets his block knocked off, gets back up, goes in the next play and tries to make another play. Gets a concussion because he's trying to run over people because he knows that, shoot, this might be the last time he get in the red zone this game. We got to make it count. Tight ends that don't even go out there to help him and just look at him get killed. You could at least ran in the back of the end zone and let him toss it to you for a touchdown, Rudolph. But no, you're just going to stand there and watch him get killed. This is the same guy that ran over Grady Jarrett, the defensive tackle for the Falcons, to put us up in the game. Same kid. But you don't look at those plays. You want to look at the play where he ran almost 90 yards and tripped and fell, but you fail to realize that we still got a touchdown on that drive. It was a blooper. You fail to mention the play that if Evan Ingram catches that ball against the Eagles the second year, we're actually in the playoffs. Fail to realize that. You fail to mention that he gets a lot of touchdowns called back because of stupid penalties, and he has a lot of drop passes. Do you know that he had a 64.3 completion percentage, and our receivers dropped some of the most balls in the league? Think about that. Even with all those drop passes, Evan Ingram, Ross, Slayton, Shepard, he still had a 64.3 completion percentage, which is average in the league. So imagine if they catch some of those passes. Imagine on those 3rd and 4s if they catch that pass instead of dropping it and we still on the field. Imagine not getting the ball tipped up in the air and getting it picked off, that he actually catch that pass and we're still on the field driving the ball. Imagine if he had confidence in throwing the ball to somebody. But hey, look, I know it's easy to bash the kid. That's what we do. We bash the kid. You know. That's the easy thing to do, man. That's the very easiest thing to do. Bash the kid. Let's blame Daniel Jones for all the turmoil that's going on with this franchise. Let's blame Daniel Jones. Let's blame a kid.
At Hampton by
Let's blame a kid that nowhere the kid can turn, he has anything positive to turn. He has nothing positive to go by. Let's blame him. That's the easy thing to do right there. Just turn around and blame him. Blame him for the incompetence of the GM. Blame him for the incompetence of the coaching staff. Blame him for an incompetent owner. Blame him for injuries throughout the whole team on defense and offense. Blame him for not being able to play with receivers that are healthy. Blame him for the defense giving up the most points before halftime. Blame him for an offensive line that can't block. Blame him for a running back that's never healthy. Blame him for not even having a running game. Blame him for a rookie coach that didn't really know what he was doing, and he didn't even have the tools to succeed. Blame him for Jason Garrett not being able to call plays in this century. Blame him for a right tackle that can't block anybody. Blame him for a right guard that can't pick up the stunt to save his life. Blame him for a center that can't stay upright for the life of him. Blame him for Andrew Thomas getting hurt. Blame him for Pert coming in, and he was supposed to be better than Nate Solder, and he proved that he wasn't and getting hurt. Blame him for having practice squad linemen starting along the offensive line. Blame him for having to throw to practice squad receivers. Blame him for the drops the receivers have. You see where I'm going with this? That's crazy. That's crazy. That kid's fighting for his career out there every game because, man, these people are not doing anything for him. Blame him for a defense that couldn't stop the run last year. Blame him for Kadarius Toney getting hurt and not being able to play. Blame him for Galladay not living up to his contract. Blame him for Barkley not living up to his draft status. Blame him for not having a tight end that he can depend on. Blame him for an organization that still had draft niggas when it comes to drafting. Blame him for all the bad draft mistakes that they had. Blame him for drafting Zimenez and Carter and making them believe that they're going to be the top edge rushers of this team. Blame him for Blake Martinez getting injured. Blame him for having Mr. Irrelevant as your starting middle linebacker. Blame him for Dexter Lawrence not living up to his draft status, even though everybody loves him. I mean, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. But you know what? I'm going to end this on a positive note, man. I think Daniel Jones is going to be the absolute best Daniel Jones he could be this year. I just got a hunch, man. I just got a hunch. I just think the kid is finally going to be able to get into a system that he can be comfortable in. Now, whether or not that allows him to be the franchise quarterback of the New York Giants, I don't know. I think he's going to have to throw for over 4,000 yards, over 30 touchdowns to even be considered the top quarterback going into next year. Does he do that? I don't know. I hope he does, because I like the kid. I like his toughness, man. This is one of the toughest kids that you'll see. Man, he takes it from everybody. From everybody. He takes it from everybody. But we're going to end this on a little positive note here. We're going to end it with the first workouts of the New York Giants of the new offseason program. You guys enjoy this, and then we're gonna click out.
Back at it, man. You know it.
Back in the code.
Good morning.
Day to night and night to day. You gotta work. Say it loud if you relate. You gotta work. You gotta work. The time is now. You gotta work. No backing down. You gotta work. No time to rest. You gotta work to be the best.
Today was a good start. Kind of talk to him about expectations and standards and get to know him a little bit.
You know, we've got new coaches, we've got new teammates. There's certainly plenty to focus on right now and work to prepare and take advantage of each day we have.
I love the energy. You know, it's really up right now. And I think it'll be really fun being in this new defense.
Gotta get big in here.
Gotta get big in here. Day one. Time to get big in here.
Gotta work. See, a hustle is not the same. You gotta work. No more playing done with the game. You gotta work. Day to night and night to day. You gotta work. Say it loud if you relate. You gotta work.
And that's what you got to do, man. They're going to have to work. They're going to have to work, man. But thank you guys for watching the video. Hit that like and subscribe button for me. Almost at 1,300 subscribers, man. We're doing big things with the Big Blue Crew. Going to be starting that Big Blue Network soon for you guys. But let's keep it positive. Let's keep it positive going to the season. And let's just hope that Daniel Jones turns out to be our franchise quarterback. I'm not saying that he's going to do it, but I sure hope he does, because if he does, I mean, that's half the battle. We can win games immediately if this guy turns into the franchise quarterback that I believe I see if he actually has a system around him. But until the next Big Pat Sports Talk reacts, peace.
This has been a Big Blue Crew production.